tonight with the guys from Cloud9 Hookah, and tonight we'll be comparing Cocoultimates and Coconaras.
Alright, so basically what we're doing here, we've got the same setup on both hookahs. So it's our usual setup: KM base, True Hookah stem, Social Smoke Pro lounge hose. These are both Tangier small funnels loaded with new lemon lime. The foil is done the exact same on both bowls. So right now we've got Coconara and Cocoultimate, and basically I don't know if you can see, there's subtle differences. The Cocoultimate is much more porous. It's also lighter. The Coconara is much more dense. The big notice that you'll see just by looks alone is the cut on the Coconaras is much more consistent. You'll find with Cocoultimates that the cut, you'll find a lot like this. The cut's going to be a lot more inconsistent. A lot of tiny coals, and you'll have really huge coals. But Coconara does seem to be much more consistent with the cut. And so basically, what we've got going on over here, we have 3 Cocoultimates on this side and 3 Coconaras on this side. We've started a timer to see how long it takes for them to heat up, and they're on opposite sides of the burner so that they're not affecting the amount of time that it takes each one to heat up. So we'll be back in a few.
As you can see, we are 7 minutes in, and on the right we have the Cocoultimates. They are almost heated up to where they're ready to be flipped. On the left is the Coconaras. They're still struggling to heat up. You will notice that when the Cocoultimates are lighting, they do let off a odor into the room, very reminiscent of campfire. Definitely more noticeable than the Coconaras. The Coconaras don't have much of an odor, but as you can see, they are taking longer to light. Alright, as you can see, we flipped both sets of coals. Here in the lounge, we're working with a Broil King plug-in electric burner. This burner's been cold for about an hour or two, so heating these coals up is definitely take a lot longer than, say, if we had run some coals out earlier. But right now we're at 10 minutes and 35 seconds. The Cocoultimates are ready to be put on the Tangier's funnel bowl, but the Coconaras still need probably about 30 more seconds till we feel comfortable with them being completely warmed up. Well, here we are with our 2 hookahs. We are having to kind of tell you what happened instead of show you because our battery died. But first with the introductions, I'm Joshua.
I'm Keenan.
Daniel.
And Gavin.
We have Cocoultimates over here and Coconaras on this hookah. We originally started with 3, and we let them sit for 3 to 4 minutes. The most noticeable things that we saw, the Cocoultimates initially drew bigger clouds. They were really dense clouds. The Coconaras didn't pull in as much clouds, I guess you could say. But it was a smoother smoke. Something that we noticed with the Cocoultimates is that they had cracks and crevices in them. They are prone to splitting on us, because we had said probably, what would you say about how many coals of Cocoultimates split?
Maybe 2 and 20.
2 and 20, so 1 and 10 for a simpler fraction.
Sounds good.
But the Coconaras don't have splits. They aren't prone to splitting that I'm aware of. So those are the 2 noticeable differences that we have discovered in doing this.
And the Naras also ash more. To point that out too, the Coconaras tend to ash more than the Cocoultimates do, in my opinion.
Definitely.
And they tend to get black on the bottom too, pretty quick.
Any other observations that you guys noted from the first smoke?
Pretty much covered that.
Okay. Sounds good.
There you go.
Well, we will be back in 20 minutes to check on the coal size, to come back and kind of show you the longevity of the coals, and then we'll give you our final assessment and which one we prefer. The coals are pretty much neck and neck. These are the Cocoultimates. So far we've had 1 split, and they are burning nice and hot. and the Coconaras. As you can see, they are roughly about the same size. We can expect both coals to last well over 30 minutes. And we will come back with our review of how each coal's performed.
Alright guys, we're back with our final opinions on each of the coals. I'm going to start off. One thing I like about the Coconaras is it seems to be a little smoother on the draw. But that's not to take away from the fact that Cocoultimates have done a great job throughout the session. Of course, there's going to be a problem with Cocoultimates splitting and some size variations. But overall, I think the price of Cocoultimates outweighs the negatives that it presents. So overall, I would choose Cocoultimates over Coconaras.
Yeah, definitely for me. My overall will remain to be Cocoultimates. I would 100% agree on the smoke is a little smoother with the Coconaras. Definitely, for sure, less heat management. The Ultimates tend to get a little bit hot. You need to move your coals a little bit. The size and consistency, it is there. I don't necessarily mind it though, because I use primarily I'm smoking Tangiers in a funnel, and I kind of like smaller coals for that. But then when I'm using an Egyptian, you have the larger coals. So, yeah, overall, I would say Cocoultimates are me.
I was surprised about Coconara and how smooth the smoke was. I am very impressed with the fact that you could leave the coals there potentially without moving them and have a smooth session all the way. However, I really enjoy thick clouds, and I don't mind heat management. And just like Daniel and Gavin said, or especially like Daniel said, with the size difference, I can pick which coals that I like to put on my hookah. And I know that sounds really weird, but it is actually perfect. Large ones for Egyptian hookahs, or Egyptian bowls, and the smaller ones for Tangiers funnels. It seems like a no-brainer to me. So, all in all, I definitely think with as cheap as Cocoultimates are in comparison to Coconaras, they are my go-to coal as well.
I can definitely notice differences in both. Pretty noticeable in my opinion. First, the Cocoultimates definitely smoke hotter. It's a higher temperature. The smoke itself is warmer, and you can feel that. You get a thicker cloud, which I prefer around the board. No flavor, as they typically promote anyway. No aftertaste at all. With the Naras, a cooler smoke, noticeably cooler, not as thick because of the heat. I also notice somewhat of a taste with it. I do get notes of floral in that when I'm smoking the Coconaras on that particular roll. So for me, it's not a bad thing at all. But overall, Cocoultimates for me, the higher heat, the bigger, the thicker smoke, especially if you can manage your heat properly, is a better smoke. So guys, 1 out of 10, starting with Gavin, give us your number. What would you rate Coconaras first, then second Cocoultimates?
Coconaras are definitely great coals in their own right. I'd probably give them a 7 out of 10, and I mean, that's still pretty great, but I would go Cocoultimates probably an 8 or a 9 out of 10.
I would give Cocoultimates a 9 and Coconaras an 8. It's a slight difference to me. I think there's pros about both for sure. And so I don't think that it's an overwhelming victory for Cocoultimates, but I do prefer Cocoultimates slightly. And I'll say in comparison to the other coconut coals on the market that I've tried, these are the top 2 contenders for me.
I would also rate Coconara at a solid 8. I think they've done a great job with their coal. They have a big name in the industry, the biggest for coconut coals, and they deserve it. But I do give Cocoultimates a 9, definitely. I think they're an underrated coal. I don't think they get enough notice, and I hope more people start smoking with them because they really are phenomenal.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with an 8 on the Naras. They're a solid coal. They ash more, and they go at a lower heat, so I can't go above an 8. I would give Cocoultimates a 10 if they did not split as often as they do. That can cause frustration with smoking, even some loss of heat. You have to maneuver them around a little more at that point. But I'd give them a solid 9, almost probably even a 9.5. I'd give them a 9.5 just because because of the splitting. So there you go, guys.
There you go. If you want to check out Cocoultimates, you can go to ultimatehookah.com. The customer service is really great. Neiman, the owner of Ultimate Hookah, is a fantastic guy. This review is in no way biased towards him. We took every measure to make this as unbiased as possible. With that being said, definitely check out his site and see what he has to offer. Thanks again, guys.